Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a great morning. I am particularly chipper today because I have nitro coffee. I did a Starbucks run. Actually got up early. I even worked out before 9 a.m. So I'm feeling like a totally responsible adult. Can you imagine? For those who don't know, my name is Frank Lavinia, and you can catch my stuff at franksworld.com and datadriven.tv. And of course, how could I forget? Let me use the right graphic, impactquantum.com, where I have a podcast on the material related to the emerging field of data science and not artificial, data science and how quantum um, uh, computing will affect that. Yes, I am. It's Friday, man. I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating 2 successful weeks at Electrify, and did a live stream yesterday on for the company. So that was pretty fun. Thanks for commenting, Randy. Today is also, oh, I wish I were going to Hawaii, man. I wish. That's one of the things. I never actually been to Hawaii, but I just was feeling festive today. I got my Sequel Trail shirt. Thank you, Carlos. I am not going to Hawaii, although that would be cool. I am looking forward to traveling again. Sometime soon. I don't know when, but soon. So hey, John, how's it going? So you like the early streams? I'm thinking about doing these a little more regularly, like maybe around like 10:30. I actually have a really cool podcast I'm recording today with a former colleague, so that'll be interesting. And had a little bit of time before my next customer call. Oh, but Randy, I do wish I were going to Hawaii. So if you looked at the title of this feed, is actually, I actually did a boneheaded thing yesterday. I love this microphone, but if you're not careful with the pop filter here, so this is the pop filter. The cool kids call this a pop filter. And so that basically, if you say pop, like if I did it here, it'd probably blow out your eardrums, but I put this here. But if I'm not careful, this is the mute button. So apparently I did that yesterday. Oh. All right. Things are a little more sensitive than I thought they would be. Yeah, so I wish I were going away. Anyway, I accidentally muted my entire talk. So I'm talking for minutes and minutes. I think I was talking for like 20 minutes, and most of it was on mute. So thank you for pointing that out. That was a bit of a mistake. But you know what? I'm going to cover up that mistake by wearing a lei to celebrate the weekend. And the fact that I actually got up early, worked out, and did a coffee run and a gasoline run all before 8:30 a.m. Can you imagine? I feel like a responsible adult. Let's go to the blog. So this is actually what I was talking about yesterday on my little feed thingy. Oops. Let's see how we do this. Nope. I want this template. Thank you. You work out at 4:45 a.m. Kudos to you, sir. That's where I want to be, Randy, when I grow up. I want to be able to work out that early. I got a Peloton, by the way. I'm one of those Peloton people. And this is my ID on Peloton, Frank Diggs Data. So be sure to follow me. I like the Peloton, not because it's a bike, but because it's actually very data driven. If you go through, you can dig through your workouts, and you can kind of see exactly what you were doing and how close you were to the ideal and kind of what your output is. And oh, you have a Peloton too? Cool. Yeah, add me, Frank Diggs Data. I love it because you can go through, you can see, and what keeps me honest is, like, the first week I had it, I wrote it every day, and then I skipped 2 days, and then I was looking at the calendar, and I was like, oh my God, it's been a week since I used this. And it's not a trivial investment, even with the Microsoft benefit spend, which I did use. Um, so I'm like, you know what? I got on it. So I'm actually 2 days in a row. Awesome. Bariatric try guy. Cool. Awesome. I will definitely follow you back on that. And actually, what's really funny is a guy I went to high school with, and I forget his ID, but I'll maybe I can get him on the show. That would be cool, like a live feed and talk about it. But he's got like 26,000 workout. I mean, like just ridiculous. He's like a super user, and he was a skinny guy in high school, like scrawny guy in high school. Now he's like buff. I mean, like he's kind of like a shorter version of that guy from Game of Thrones, the Mountain. Like, except he's got a mohawk. And get this, he's actually a preacher too. So he's definitely hardcore. He lives somewhere in upstate New York, and he's got like an outdoor gym. It's like he works out, like, it's covered, but it's like he's in the snow. Like, he's hardcore, man. Respect for him. He's my age, and like he's rocking it. I'm loving it. Like, dude is like, as we would say back in the day, he's diesel. Awesome. Thanks, Randy. I'll definitely follow you back once I go upstairs. Let me show you all this. Let's see if I can make this a little wider to fill up that screen. There we go. So this is franksworld.com, and this is kind of what I talked about yesterday. Couple of interesting things. I like to go through and kind of talk about what's kind of going on and what's having high impact. That's kind of like, and that's basically what I like to do on Frank's World, is kind of highlight what's going on in the world. And not to brag or nothing, but I actually landed 121 blog posts this month. So a lot of that has to do with my automation, semi-automation that I do, and I can kind of produce content pretty quickly, actually. And I'm trying to line up some more stuff in regards to Electrify. And so, not to spend too much time on the people that pay my mortgage, but hey, they have this really cool product, Electrify. If you don't know, here, I'll pull up the website. Basically, this is the company that the opportunity was so awesome that I left Microsoft for. And basically, they make pre-made models and over 1,000 models. And your eyes do not deceive you. They do have 17 years of experience in this space. And a lot of that 17 years is before it was cool, before data science was the hot thing, before it was called data science, when it was just called advanced analytics or business intelligence. So they've actually been in the game a long time. And the key, I think, takeaway here, let me make sure I can fit that in this little space here. The key takeaway is that we got a lot of models. We have a lot of experience in terms of how do you get from data to actually time to value. And we do this weekly stream, and I say we because I guess now I'm a co-host. Noelle Silver, my esteemed colleague from Microsoft and now Electrify, she does this. I should probably look that way so I can pretend I'm looking at the screen. So she actually started the show called This Week in Applied AI, and basically the goal was kind of highlight kind of like, well, there's AI and then there's applied AI, right? Because there's a lot of hype around AI, and how do you make it actionable? How do you make it real? How do you have it tied to actual business deliverables? And that's the purpose of the show. So each week we cover a topic. So this week I wanted to talk about tracking spending. So there's actually a product called Spend AI, and I had my other new colleague, John Posada, demo it kind of live. And don't worry, the microphone did work the whole time on that one. Is it a podcast? Not yet, John. Not yet. We are looking to repurpose this as a podcast, and we definitely will let you know. Part of the reason I think that it was a good synergy, I hate using the word synergy, but it was a good combination for everyone, for me to bring kind of my evangelism background, my podcasting background, my live streaming background into Electrify, because I think the world needs to know about their products and what they build. But soon it will be a podcast. And don't worry, I'm working on the content. Awesome, John. Thank you. You will subscribe to day one. That's what makes you awesome, dude. You are an awesome, sir. An awesome. You are awesome, sir. And an awesome, sir. Yeah, you can tell. Like, so I don't know if y'all ever tried. Um, First off, I'm still not used to saying y'all. I live south of the Mason-Dixon now since 2004, and it's just like this year I can feel like can say y'all. You know, if you look above, and I don't want to like mess up the camera, but I got my Yankee Stadium, you know, parking sign and things like that, Metro subway sign, and I got my old license plate from New York State. Anyway, sidetrack. But yeah, this nitro coffee is good stuff. Anyway, so yes, it will be a podcast soon. Soon. And let me move where my mic is. Make sure I didn't mute myself accidentally. So check this out. So checking out the video. Another thing that's pretty interesting is this guy. I spent a lot of time talking about this video yesterday, and I actually didn't click through. So this time I will click through and kind of show the highlights on the screen. But this guy, after watching this video, I have new life goals. So long story short, Dave, he's retired from Microsoft. He actually worked on Task Manager, and I was showing my son this yesterday. So he shows off his home office, and it is just incredibly. Words can't kind of like. I'm going to mute it because it's in my ears. But he's basically, to celebrate getting 100,000 subscribers, he's showing off his home office. One, his home office is in a separate building on his property. He worked in Microsoft from like Windows DOS, from before Windows, like MS-DOS and like Windows 3.1 and 95 up. He's the guy who started the Windows Task Manager. And so needless to say, he probably's got a fair bit of Microsoft stock and money. So good on him. But check out this lab of his. Like, it's just absolutely incredible, like what he's got. Like, he basically has a company now where he does kind of like lighting and IoT with OLED devices and stuff like that. So his whole house is rigged up. But he's done like, I mean, his home office is just incredible. Like, so he's got his lab out in the yard and stuff, and he's got like a couple of PCs, a couple of Macs. Where's the car? Oh yeah, so like check this out. So he's got like in his house, he's got like an Oval Office type thing. And it is actually shaped like an oval, I guess hence the name. And check this out. Like, so he's got like this whole thing, and then where does he show? Somewhere. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. This is where he shows you his super secret thing. Although I guess since he put it on YouTube and he has 100,000 subscribers, maybe it's not so secret anymore. But check this out. Look at that. A bar, pool table. He's got like an arcade in the back. Like, I have new life goals after seeing this. Like, it's just like, whoa. I mean, I have a pool table in the other room, but it's not this fancy. I'm like, and it's not jealousy. It's more like, I didn't know this was possible. Like, this is just incredible. Yeah, definitely check that out. It's a fun video. His channel is really cool too. He talks about, there has this whole thing about how Task Manager started, why it started, how he started it. And it's just fascinating. If you're a Microsoft geek, you're a Windows geek. Obviously I am. It's just, you have to watch it. It's just, it's so cool. Speaking of Microsoft, there's a really good talk here that I highlighted from Microsoft Research on sound capture and speech enhancement. For speech recognition at a distance and communication. Anyone who's ever used Siri or Google or even Cortana or Alexa, you know, it's not perfect. In fact, the other day, what did I say the other day? It came out really funny. It was like, instead of misinformation, it came up with this information. So that was actually this morning while I'm driving my early morning coffee and gasoline run. Let's see what else. Uncle Bob has an interesting talk with Alan Holub about what the future of programming looks like and how can we make it better. Databricks is rocking the content game, the content marketing game, with their Tech Talk series. In this case, they're talking about CI/CD with Delta Lake. Speaking of Delta Lake, Another awesome content creator, Simon Whiteley, has a really good talk about getting the data capture feed from Delta Lake. You're going to see Delta Lake. Delta Lake is one of those transformative technologies that you're going to see a lot more stuff built on top of. If you're not certain what Delta Lake is, basically it lets you do time travel as well as run a relational style database over a big database, big data query stores. And I'm not doing it justice in that. I'm not doing it justice in that description, but take a look at it. Take a look at some of Simon's videos. Take a look at some of the things, and you'll see kind of like why that is impactful, and why that is going to be. I think kind of, we had the Dupe era and we were in the midst of the Spark era, but I think the Delta Lake era is coming. Databricks is betting the farm on it. They have their lake house pattern instead of a data warehouse. It's a pretty interesting idea. I'm not totally sold on it personally, but I think it's an interesting idea. Yes, John, I highly recommend get into Databricks. Databricks is hot, hot, hot. It's huge. And it's definitely a good skill to have. And it's based on the Spark runtime. So like, anything you learn there is still applicable, in Synapse or Vanilla Spark and things like that. So definitely check it out. I would love to see videos on your YouTube channel. So for those of you watching, you don't know who John Wood is. John and I used to work together at Wintellect, and John produces some of the best YouTube videos on machine learning, MLNet, and a bunch of other Microsoft technologies. So definitely check him out. I'm looking forward to that SageMaker versus Azure ML video, though. No pressure, though. Actually, if you look at the Electrify website, we have you'll see that a lot of our models are available on SageMaker, and for those of you wondering, hey Frank, there's a missing logo there, right? Shouldn't there be a little blue kind of cloud thingy there? Yes, there should be. Frank's working on it. Don't you worry. So you have some mostly on the CLI so far. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Awesome. Yeah, I love your CLI stuff, because CLI is one of those things where it's just the way you describe things is pretty awesome. So if you don't know John's channel, go check him out. It's pretty awesome. Or just go to Frank's World and just search John Wood. And I tag a lot of his stuff. Which reminds me, I haven't posted anything usually lately. I'll fix that. And Olivier Bloch, which I actually had the privilege of meeting him at one of the last in-person events I ever attended. And he has this interesting series, but basically it's kind of like, he does really great videos, and this one is really good. It's got a couple people from the product team talking about industrial IoT. Highly recommend that. Let's see, let me load more. So while that loads, let me go to datadriven.tv. Had a great talk with Carlos. And today I'm actually recording something with a former colleague that I will probably have up Monday, because there's a bit of time sensitivity to it. Oh yeah, this is really cool. Two things on quantum. And so if you look at Kellyon Tech has kind of done some research into what's happening on an IonQ. And if you're not familiar with IonQ, they are basically the first publicly traded quantum computing company. So, I mean, if you think back to the internet, if you're old enough to remember Netscape, when Netscape IPO'd, that was the big bang moment. A lot of people, their eyes lit up. And I think I don't know if IonQ's IPO is kind of at the scale of Netscape yet, but it's going to be remembered as one of those, if not big bang moments, little bangs. Speaking of quantum computing, there's a student in Sydney, I think he's like 21 years old. He basically solved a key engineering problem of quantum computing with a simple modification. Basically, the success of any quantum computer has to do with how stable the quantum nature of the molecule is. But the way that he altered the molecule that they're observing, and again, I have to read the paper and all that stuff, but basically, if the molecule that you're basing your qubit on collapses, it kind of falls into other ones, which can it resolves the problem. with quantum computing, like I know what I'm doing to a point, and then I know I don't know, and that's basically it. But watch the video. Speaking of quantum computing, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is I'm trying to keep Frank's World focused on data and AI. And I know that there's a significant overlap with quantum and data science and AI, but I'm thinking about breaking that off into its own site. I mean, I already have impactquantum.com, and the podcast and the blog can kind of be like one new brand. Just want to put it out there. Let me know what you think in the comments, because quantum has its own. It can very quickly dilute the data science kind of nature of things, and I'm trying to be more focused and niched on Frank's World. Although, let me know if that's a good idea. Let me know if that's a bad idea. I mean, I haven't really. I am in a superposition, if you will. I'm not really for or against it. So I need your help to collapse that probability wave. All right, enough with the quantum. Let's talk about robots. So there's actually now a low-cost robot dog. And when I say low cost, I mean, you're not going to go to your local Walgreens or Dollar General and pick one of these up, at least not yet. But I mean, the Boston Dynamics, Boston Dynamics or Boston Robotics, but you all know who I'm referring to. Their robot is something like $40,000 to $80,000. I mean, luxury car type money, and but there's actually a lower cost one closer to I think like $10,000 to $20,000. So kind of an entry level car, new car cost. So it's definitely, I think you're going to see some interesting innovations in that space. And I know I talked about this earlier, but this lady, speaking of upping my game, this guy has upgraded my game in terms of goals for my home office. But this guy, I mean, this lady here, she took 22 Coursera courses in 3 months. That is, I think I took 14, 15 certifications in 6 months. So this is effectively halving the time and almost doubling the amount. So definitely what's really cool about this video is that she shares a lot of her productivity tips. I highly recommend it. If you recognize her, she's probably better known for her quantum computing content. Her background is, if I'm not mistaken, is actually a quantum physicist. So I think that love to have her on the show, love to have her on a live stream. But yeah, so she's cool. She's sharing her productivity tips. Let me know in the comments if you want me to share my productivity tips. I mean, it probably won't, it'll pale in comparison to hers, but you know, everybody, she's a fan of Cal Newport's work. Interesting. I'll have to check that out too. Yeah, I'm up to working on book 23 for 2021. A little bit behind because 23 divided by 4 is a little bit below. I think I'm one below the thing, so I have one more day to kind of catch up. So you don't know, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I recently finished. I have it here. This is an awesome audiobook. Awesome audiobook. Awesome print book. I actually have this on Kindle. I pre-ordered it on Kindle. Once I kind of read the Kindle and listened to the audiobook, I was like, I got to have this on Dead Tree too, because there's some stuff you got to fill out and stuff. So this is a rare triple, right? I have it on Kindle, audio, and paper. So very rare I do that. I think I've done that like 3 other times, and Taleb was one of them. All right, so this is really cool. 2 things here. There's a great talk on how to build your first healthcare virtual assistant with Azure Healthbot, which is a dedicated kind of natural language processing model that's based on healthcare. It's been trained on healthcare terms. Definitely check that out. And this is one of my new colleagues, Nicole Woods, and she's talking about how to grow your business with AI and machine learning. And one of the things I learned when I was at the MTC was even large organizations still, they have data, they don't know what to do with it. And there's just there's still this, you know, they're sitting on this raw material, but they're not sure what to do with it. And I think where the rubber meets the road, if you will, is going to be in impactful business. And obviously that's the opportunity for everyone, but particularly electrify And definitely check that out. I don't want to turn this into a commercial for Electrify, but it's an awesome company with awesome stuff, so I can't avoid but talking about them. All right, so thanks for watching. Just want to make sure you can get an audiobook, a free audiobook on me. If you go to thedatadrivenbook.com, if you're not already an Audible subscriber, they'll front you one audiobook. Go get The Common Path, The Uncommon Success. That's a great one. The Way of the Wolf is also I recommend that one too. And so with that, I want to say thank you for watching. And if you already take part of this, I think John is one of my subscribers on the Audible program. Basically, once you sign up for Audible and you decide to keep it, well, you get to keep the free book. But if you do that, it actually helps me run the podcast. And basically, it may have even paid for this coffee today, because you know how expensive Starbucks can be. But honestly, for your best bet for your dollar is the Nitro, because I'll be sipping that all day because the Nitro is that much more powerful. So maybe I should call this coffee talk. All right. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, John, for tuning in live and commenting live. I always do respond to the comments. And if I can't respond to your comment because you didn't watch this live, I will indeed respond to your comments later. I always check them out. And if you like what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. That definitely helps. Definitely helps on LinkedIn. Like, commenting, and sharing. And if there's something you want me to cover in particular, or you want to be on this little live stream that I do almost daily, I'm trying to get to daily, feel free to drop me a line. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, and Peloton at Frank Diggs Data. And or you can just hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm not that hard to find. All right. I wish you a fantastic day and have a great weekend, everyone. Time to roll the outro graphic.